What's good, chat? From the logo, back in the building for another show with my main man right here. He's only here, ZZ, lover boy ZZ. I see ZZ out here on Instagram, showing love to a little lady. Always nice to see people out here finding true love. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing out here, man.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
beautiful
my
thing.
wife. That's my
Oh, he
wife.
got, ZZ got a wifey, and we still out here waking next to random beautiful woman every Saturday, Sunday morning. You know what I mean? But it's cool. It's cool. To each his own. Love will come to you eventually. But the random pretty woman life is fun too. What are you gonna do? You've been wifed up. You've been wifed up for a good amount of times, easy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a year and
Mm.
she gonna kill me. 4 months, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, we basically been together since freshman year of college. Love that woman to death.
That's a beautiful thing. You
Yeah,
gotta be college sweethearts then.
I'm telling you, as soon as freshman year, I was like, I gotta find the baddest black girl on campus because we
Okay.
we the we the minorities,
Shout out to
and
my black queens. Shout out to my black queens out there.
boom, found her second day. Been in love
Second
with my life
day.
ever since.
Damn,
But
second day in college.
literally
All
second
those,
day.
yeah, all those pretty women. Usually college, you're trying to go out, have a good time, have your wild experience in your college days. But
Yeah.
ZZ right off the bat, I'm a
Nah,
freak
dead
love,
ass. That like you said, I walked into college thinking, oh my God, I'm about to
right?
go stupid. And then second day
Mm.
I was like, damn, never mind. So here we
It
so
be like that. Hey, you got yourself a good one. Don't let it go. Hold on to it, right?
I'm God.
That's facts.
Hey,
That's
hey,
facts.
hey, I didn't get the topics for today's show, but please tell me we're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks at some point, please.
We can start with the Milwaukee Bucks. We
Because
can
good
start with the
Lord,
situation.
bro.
Yep.
Gifted back on the gifted in here. Hold on. Oh shit. As
If
soon
you're
as that
back in the building,
dogs
gifted.
Yo,
are
I don't know what's going on. My Wi-Fi has been garbage. It might be garbage right now, but I'm here
you hear?
or
He's
trying
here.
to be
Yeah,
here.
you froze up for a little bit. So we're like, all right,
Y'all see
you
him,
Okay,
back,
bro.
okay.
you back. But yeah, we'll start off the show right off the bat with the Milwaukee Bucks. Are we worried about the Milwaukee Bucks? Are they a possible? I don't. I guess to kind of add on to the topic, we want to talk about the 1 and 4 seeds from both conferences. Which team is most likely to kind of lose that first round matchup to a lesser seed? You know what? Take the 4 seed out of it. The 1, 2, and 3 seeds of each conference. Which was most likely to lose the first round? Start with you, ZZ. Talk to me.
Look, man, you asked if we're worried about the Bucks. I ain't worried about the Bucks. The Bucks are worried about the Bucks. Let's be real.
Mm.
I said it before on numerous occasions. They should have never fired Adrian Griffin. I don't give a damn how many people have told me his defensive schemes. It was because of defense. Bro, in his first 43 games with this team, he had a record of 30 and 13, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 30 and 14, whatever. So the way I see it, the Bucks hit the panic button, right? Because being the second seed and being a middle of the pack defensive team is gonna make you hit the panic button, right? The media was all over them at the start of the season, right? And I'm sitting here saying, bro, you are the second seed in the Eastern Conference with a juggernaut of a Boston Celtics team that is head and shoulders above everybody else in the league, right? You're the second seed in the East. What the hell is bad about that? Granted, they had defensive problems, right? I get that. I really get that. But you mean to tell me that the front office in Milwaukee was like, okay, Adrian, we know it's your first. We know it's your first year. We know you've been doing incredible things. As a matter of fact, you've exceeded expectations for a first year coach with a brand new team, with a brand new Damian Lillard, right? All of that. Unfortunately, we have to let you go because of the defensive woes on this team. And the person that we're going to go get is Doc Rivers. That's our answer. That's going to solve all of our problems. And I know in the first couple of weeks, Doc had gotten their defense up a little bit more than what it was. But at the end of the day, when you lose back-to-back games against the Washington Wizards, oh, there was no Damian Lillard. There was no Kyle Kuzma. There was no Tyus Jones. There was no reason that Giannis's 35-point triple-double got wasted from a Jordan Poole, not even a masterclass, because he had like 16 and 12. Like Jordan, like, bruh, and then follow that up with a Memphis Grizzlies team that going into the game last night ranked dead last in points in the paint, right? Dead last. Average about 23 points per game or points in the paint per game, right? Then they go and face Milwaukee, and they have 38 points in the game, points in the paint in the game, right? So I'm sitting there saying, you mean to tell me that a team that ranked dead last in points in the paint scoring, not almost doubled that against your defense, right? So 30-13, I already talked about it. Under Doc Rivers in their 30 games they've played, they are at 500. That is inexcusable, bro. Inexcusable. So if you are a Milwaukee Bucks fan and you thought that getting Doc Rivers, you thought there was a legitimate reason to fire your first-year head coach who got you to the second seed in that short amount of time, right? The defense is going to come. This is a team that going into the season, we knew that their perimeter defense was going to take a hit because they traded away their best perimeter defender in Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard. And people thought that the trade makes sense at the time. I was like, okay, fair. You want more scoring? Okay, great. Your perimeter defense is going to take a hit, which it has, right? Mind you, they also traded away Grayson Allen, who was a great perimeter presence for them as well. So the Bucks, you mean to tell me that the Bucks went ahead with all of this, right? Getting Damian Lillard, buying in to win this year, and it's cost them Drew Holiday. You could say Grayson Allen, even though he wasn't in the trade, whatever. Their first-year head coach, who got them to a 30-13 record in his first 43 games, it's cost them that much to get to here, where they're 15-15 under Doc Rivers, still middle of the pack defensively, still struggling to gel and click. The Bucks shot themselves in the foot and then shot themselves in the foot again. Like all season, it's just been self-inflicted wounds to me. And if you're going to tell me, the defense is going to take a hit, we get that, right? To me, at the end of the day, if Doc isn't the answer and Adrian Griffin wasn't the answer, who's left to take accountability on this, right? It's the players. Because at the end of the day, you ask me, defense is all about effort at the end of the day, right? I can look at a Warriors game and tell when everybody is locked in defensively, knowing that they have certain things that may not go their way in terms of like a solidified big, right? The Warriors, the biggest thing they were talking about for the Warriors going into the season was they need a big man. They need a big man, a solidified big. They're a top 5 rebounding team in the league. Why? Because if you watch the games, they are giving effort on that side of the basketball or that side of the game, right? Draymond Green's crashing for boards. Podziemski, Wiggins, Kuminga, Clay, Steph, right? Everybody's crashing the board as soon as the shot goes up. If you mean to tell me that this team is blaming their defensive woes on literally Adrian Griffin, now they're going to blame it on Doc. Doc's out here saying that he's the only one that's not happy when they lose game. Like the whole team is in shambles. Chemistry, all of that's gone, right? And you got what, 9 games left to figure this out? If we're talking about out of the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference, or at least in both conference, the most vulnerable team that is a top 3 seed in either conference is the Milwaukee Bucks. So I wouldn't be surprised if they, like the way it's panning out right now, they can either match up with the Miami Heat or the Philadelphia 76ers. And if the Sixers have a healthy Joel Embiid, they got a shot to beat the Bucks. If Jimmy Butler gets pissed off, right, the Bucks could be toast, could literally just be cooked, right? So I think that the majority of their issues that they're having, they literally brought it upon themselves, and now we're just gonna wait and see another Doc Rivers playoff collapse. That's what I see. Gifted.
Back with us, Gifted. Oh, you're muted. You're
muted, brother. You're still muted, brother. Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Hold on, let him. He probably cooking up a storm right now.
Can you hear me?
Your mic's a little kerfuffled.
Okay, my bad. Hang on.
Well, now
wait. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
No problem. I'm good now. Okay, so yeah, I've been having these weird internet flare-outs over here, but the last thing I heard you say was Doc Rivers choking the Bucks. Why did they fire the coach? Yada yada yada. Is all that true?
Yeah. We're talking about the Bucks. How are they vulnerable in the playoffs right now? Do you expect them to lose in the first round?
Yeah.
Type of deal?
Interesting. I feel like the Bucks are going to be better in the playoffs. I just don't think it's going to be the degree of better that some people think it will be. I think that they are going to beat certain teams, but I think in terms of making a deeper postseason run to actually win a title this season, I don't think that happens. I don't think that you fire your coach mid-season and then you figure everything out. I think this Bucks team has some critical issues and flaws that need to be addressed and fixed for next season to really make a stride with Dame. Obviously, with how much money he'll be making every season, it kind of matters, but I kind of wasn't expecting them to go that far regardless if they had hired a new head coach or not. But especially, I don't trust Doc Rivers in the playoffs either. So for the Bucks, their slide and their continuance to be a inconsistent team kind of makes sense to me. So I think in a postseason setting, while they'll be better, I think those flaws are going to be a bit too much for them to overcome, if you ask me.
I hear you. I do think the coaching fire, I think, will go down as one of the most confusing kind of
Stupid.
firings that's ever happened. Yeah, a team that was playing relatively well. Yes, we had these expectations for the Bucks probably to be a little better, but I don't think there was any terrible holes, especially do a midseason. For them to fire coach midseason with how well they were playing, definitely weird. I don't think we've ever seen it like that. In terms of them in the playoffs, I do think I do think they're a team that's just kind of waiting for the playoffs. The last few games in the regular season, I'm not going to put too much weight onto it. Guy like Giannis, who's had now, multiple playoff runs, has a championship. Lillard, who I think at this point in his career, just kind of, he's going to obviously play in the regular season, do his thing, but really he's going to kind of wait to the post and be like, all right, this is my time to really step up, be the Damian Lillard we know. Like, I just think in the playoffs, Damian Lillard, we've seen in the past, he can be the best. Even to right now, he can steal you a game or two. He can be the best player on the floor in any given series.
Yeah.
Too, right? So I'm not too worried about the Bucks. They'll definitely win. I think their first round matchup, though, we talked about earlier on the panel today, they see Philly in the first round, and Joel gets better and healthier.
Bro.
That's dangerous. That's very dangerous. That's 100% definitely gonna be a factor. But I think in terms of other teams who I'm worried about the most, I do want to just quickly pull up the standings here. I think the Timberwolves lose in the first round for sure.
Really?
Whatever team they're playing, I'm probably picking the other team. Yeah, because right now the Timberwolves are going to play either, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they can play the Pelicans, Kings, Lakers. I haven't think about they're the one seed. I mean, they're tied with them. Yeah, it could be Pelicans, Kings, Lakers, or the Warriors, depending on how the play-in goes. They're losing against the Pelicans. I had the Timberwolves lose against the Pelicans. They're losing against the Lakers. I had the Lakers give it to the Timberwolves. I even think Golden State beats Minnesota. I think Golden State still finds a way to get it done, beat Minnesota. I think Steph Curry is going to be the best one on the floor in that situation. Shout out to Anthony Edwards, but I still think Steph got it. Do I think the Timberwolves can beat the Kings? Yeah, I think the Timberwolves can beat the Kings, but I think that would be a great series. I think Fox is going to go bucket for bucket. So Pelicans, Lakers, Warriors for sure, and the Kings to me, Kings versus Minnesota is a 50-50 series.
The Kings, if they get matched up with the Kings are cooked. I promise you. And I think that it's mainly because they lost arguably their best shooter in Kevin Huerter for the season, and then the spark plug off the bench. So if you don't have the spark plug off the bench, and it's a 7-game series, mind you, Karl Anthony Towns is coming back before the playoffs. So even with Karl Anthony Towns not being 100%, but 100% of Anthony Edwards and the rest of the defensive pieces that they have, I think that'll be enough. Now, it's only time will tell because they are a relatively young team, right? And they took a significant jump from last season to the first seed, right? So I get all of that. But if they match up with the Kings, I think the Kings are cooked. The Pelicans, I'm a little up in the air about it. I could see the Pelicans winning 100%. The Lakers is another team where when you said it at first, I was like, but then I'm like, you have to factor in the fact that AD's been balling. LeBron in a 7-game series. We already know what he can bring to the table. D'Lo's been playing relatively well, even though if I've had my concerns with D'Angelo Russell on the floor at the same time as LeBron and Anthony Davis and having to literally change what his role is. If LeBron wasn't there, he's being not only a facilitator, but a scorer as well. I think that some shots that he might have gotten, if LeBron wasn't there, he may not be able to get if LeBron is there because they're going to put him in that catch and shoot role. And it's up in the air if he's going to hit that shit or not. Last year, bro was selling the bag and then going out there after the game and still putting up shots. And then the next game he sold the bag again. So it's tough. And I love D'Lo. I really do. But it's like, you have to have D'Lo hitting alongside Austin Reeves. Like certain things just have to click for the Lakers as a whole for me to really be like, okay, yeah, they can probably take out a top seeded, Timberwolves team if they end up in the 8th spot. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. Dub is here. What is the first camera? Oh, okay. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure. Gifted, what you think?
Yeah, I think the Wolves are gonna beat a couple teams in the postseason. I understand the hesitancy to pick them because of their offensive execution at times, but I still think that their defense is very, very, very legit. I don't feel like you're going to see the regular drop off that you've seen on past Rudy Gobert teams because defensively, this is a team that was very solid with Denver without two of their best defenders, right? So
Mhm.
now this same team can come back and really perform at that level. And I think if they're not playing a team that's as good as Denver, it becomes an even closer conversation in terms of who's going to make it out or not. I don't like knowing that Cat isn't going to be 100%. I don't know exactly what to, gauge from
Mhm.
that. But I think that they're going to find very good matches for them with their size. A lot of the other teams outside of the Lakers, just size wise, aren't really going to be able to match up with them. And even with a team like the Lakers, again, Minnesota is a great matchup for Denver and LA because of their size. And the main advantage that they use to beat other teams would be their size in the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I hear the offense point, but if they muddy up the game to a certain point, there's not going to be that many teams that can, consistently keep up with them in the postseason. But I get why people doubt them. They are a younger team and they haven't really proven it to that degree. So people just don't think that they're going to be, there to do it. I think Anthony Edwards is a much better player than he was 2 years ago. And I think that this team just has a lot of guys that can be useful in those types of situations. Obviously, you have McDaniels, who's been a very good overall defender based off his reputation. You have
Mhm.
Mike Conley, who has been the table guy, the glue guy for their offense with the 3-point shooting. And then off the bench, they have Nikhil Alexander Walker, who gives you that punch. They just have guys, and I feel like because of that, that's enough to get them to the first round in terms of how far they can go. That's really dependent on how Anthony Edwards plays down the stretch and the health of Karl Anthony Towns. But I think the Wolves are good enough to get out of the first round this season.
Yeah.
Listen, bro. Without Cat,
Mm.
ironically, bro, I don't see how successful that team can be.
Hmm.
Especially when even when we're talking about the defense of Rudy Gobert and how this is the best like defensive supporting cast he's had in his whole entire career. When I do look at some of these, well, they're the first seed now. So we need to consider that too. So if they do make it out, it's probably because they're going to go up against what? The Kings, the
Mhm.
Warriors, the Pelicans without BI, or the Lakers. So I can see them beating those teams for sure. Like I'm not even going to doubt that. But if they go down to the third seed, going to be facing Phoenix, that's where it's going to be kind of like, all right, I don't know where to go. So I don't know. Right now they're the first seed, so who knows what they're going to do? I think it all depends on the matchup, but they are for sure a team that can be going out in the first round, specifically if they see the Denver Nuggets. I mean, not the Denver Nuggets, specifically if they see the Phoenix Suns, But any team in the play-in right now, bro, I mean, bro, they could be any one of those guys for sure.
I will tell you this too. I feel like nobody has been talking about the Timberwolves' success without Karl Anthony Towns enough. Like they're 8-2 in their last 10, right? He's been out for about 3 weeks to a month, and they have a well above 500 record without him. So I even said when Cat went down, I was like, shit. Ant might be able to get some MVP votes in if they stay afloat, if they don't fall down like the Philadelphia 76ers did or something like that. So, I don't think he's going to win it, obviously, but I just think that the fact that they've been able to stay afloat and now they're back in the, first seed, is something that I think they should be getting some more props for. I think that, like Gifted alluded to, they have weapons. That's the thing that people don't like really look at this team and really understand. It's not, that's why to me, it's not necessarily about the youth. What the it's not necessarily about the youth per se. I'm gonna check on that in a second because I don't know what's happening. I might be getting rated, no diddy. But if you look at the team, right, and you think about it, and you're like, they have a lot of just great, solid pieces to fill out certain roles. I like the Gifted brought up Mike Conley. Uncle Mike, talk to me nice. Bro can run a unit, bro can facilitate, and he can shoot. Let Anthony Edwards cook and do his thing. Rudy Gobert is somebody that Gifted's been high on for Depoy for longer than any of us. So it's like, yo, when you look at that, Nickeil Alexander Walker off the bench, they have so much that I think if health is, taken into consideration, because like Gifted said, I don't know what percentage of health we're going to get from Cat. But the fact that they've been able to stay afloat this long without him, I feel like it can only really help them, unless he goes out there and is on his decoy Scottie Pippen 1998 final shit. But I don't think that's going to happen.
But I mean, I know me and Gifted agreed on this. I don't know if anyone else did, but the Timberwolves are a team that, with and without Cat, they're going to be perfectly fine. Honestly, I think their offense gets a bit more freed up when Cat's not around there. But Karl Anthony Towns not being around that crew, I mean, I think it was actually easy to see that they were going to be successful with or without him,
I feel it.
So,
Yeah,
and then
Timberwolves are cooked in the first round. Like I said, I all season, all year round, I was never high on the Timberwolves, even with Cat there. I just feel like, especially with no Cat now, again, the secondary scoring option is going to be such a problem. I can see Anthony Edwards getting so much attention defensively in the playoffs. Who's going to pick it up for him when, let's say, he does see a double team or whatever the case may be. Rudy Gobert's not doing it. McDaniels is not doing it. They just don't have that secondary and third option scoring wise. They would have to play incredible defense, try to win games, 90 to 80. And I just don't think that's very possible in today's NBA. So,
but I think that's the blueprint for what their team is, though. Like, I think the blueprint for who the Wolves are is that they're going to grind up the games. They're going to make the games super uncomfortable. And specifically for where they are, whoever they match up with are not going to be potent defensive teams because they're at the bottom of the West for the most part, right? Most of the top defenses in the Western Conference are at the top of the conference. So in terms of how they're going to try to load up on Ant, they're not going to have the personnel to consistently do that. And even if they are able to, have their way offensively, which I don't think they will, it's still going to be contested because they still have the size to make it tough and get rebounds. Like, that's what I feel like they're going to be able to beat any of those teams in the play-in. I think how far they go again is super under question because we don't know what we're entirely working with Cat. And to be fair, even with Cat, they still had problems in terms of consistently closing games out. But me and Dub said this earlier. Without Cat, I thought they were going to be fine because it becomes a bit more predictable in terms of what types of offense they're going to run to succeed during this stretch. I still feel like with Cat there, now you have more fouls, you have more size on the floor to take advantage of. And now when Anthony Edwards isn't in the game, you have someone else that your offense can go to. So I think because of that balanced type of punch, that's enough to get them out of the first round. They can lose in the first round. I don't think that they are immune to losing in the first round. It's possible, but I think that they're able to win games in different ways because of their defense. Knowing that they have that ace in the hole gives them a shot to beat any of those teams in the West, to me.
I hear what you're saying, no, for sure. I mean, I guess to kind of add to that, what teams do you guys think in the playoffs this year, where if they don't get it done, if they don't win a playoff series, or they don't go as far as we kind of expect, do they blow it up? Like if Boston loses in the second round, is it you trade one of the big pieces, make a big trade just because Boston hasn't been able to get it done? Cleveland, they see maybe this is the last run with Donovan Mitchell possibly leaving this offseason if they don't make if they don't make a really kind of deep run. In the Western Conference, the Phoenix Suns, LA Clippers, teams.
The Clippers for sure.
Yeah, the Clippers, and a couple seasons together now, if they can't get it done or make a run to at least the Western Conference Finals, do they make a move? I guess with Phoenix, even though it is the first year with Bradley Beal there, just with the age of Kevin Durant.
Yeah, you never know. KD might just be like, if they lose, KD will be like,
yeah. So what team do you guys think? What team do you guys think make kind of a big offseason move, or maybe even blow it up if they don't go that far in the playoffs? We'll start with Gifted.
Woo. So there's a couple of answers here. I think for me, I really want to say Phoenix, but I don't think it happens in the offseason because I don't think they can do anything in the offseason. Right. I think KD would at least see one more season with the team, and then next offseason he would ask out, in my opinion. Mainly because their cap space is just terrible. They are stuck with this team. Bradley Beal has a no trade clause. The only way that they can try to improve is through vet mins, and even then, that's going to kind of dry up. And I also feel like They have to extend Grayson Allen pretty much now, otherwise they're going to lose him for nothing. He will get overpaid in the open market, but it's hard for me to see those, drastic changes happening in this offseason for the Phoenix Suns because of everything I just said. The team I would look at might be the Clippers. And the reason why is on paper, we don't know what's happening with the Paul George situation. The only player that's been paid has really been Kawhi Leonard. I feel like more than ever, those guys are going to probably resign. But again, that's a thought. If they flame out in the first round, a lot of things can change. If there's a growing overall friction between Paul George and James Harden, or even Ty Lue and James Harden, that changes a lot of what this potential situation could be, especially with the Paul George. Like, is he going to leave? Is he going to the Pacers or the Sixers? I think it's a tough spot. And I know that we kind of say, well, they have to bring him back because they have this new arena, but that's a two-way street. If Paul George doesn't want to come back, he's not going to come back. So I will point to the Clippers. I really, really, really want to say Suns, but again, I think based off their financial situation, I don't think anything's going to drastically happen until the next season. I think they're going to at least give it another season sample size before saying, okay, we got to move on.
So we've talked about the Clippers a lot, and they are kind of up and down right now. And I said before, bro, it's like if we're really going to rely on playoff Kawhi Leonard to emerge again after the injury issues he's been going through, and again, they're going off this playoff Kawhi off of a game and a half. I mean, good luck to you. God bless your soul. I'm not going to. I'm sorry. I don't think that Lightning's going to strike 3 times. I don't think Kawhi's going to have another whole out-of-body experience. If it happens, it happens. I don't see it happening with the Clippers right now, especially where throughout the January to March, they were absolutely just clicking on all cylinders. Now, what's going on right now? They're up and down right now, losing the teams they shouldn't be losing to, getting outperformed by teams that are competent teams in the postseason. So now it's a lot of the same issues that happened when they first got together, right? Now, could this be them trying to take it easy to prepare for the playoffs? I can understand that. But at the same time, if I'm going to try to be objective here, the Clippers have shown us consistently to be an up and down team with Paul George and his performances. James Harden has always been up and down in his performances as well. Russell Westbrook has always been up and down in the postseason in his performances as well. Their whole entire team has been just that. The main guy that's been consistent in the postseason is Kawhi Leonard. So to me, banking on one guy who's been having so much injury issues his whole entire career, I mean, for the last 2-3 seasons now, you guys got it. I don't. I'm just not doing it, especially when they still don't have any answer for the Denver Nuggets and how they could destroy them down low. Honestly, even in the Timberwolves series, bro, like their ability to get, if Cat's there, because I think Cat could play in the postseason, if Cat and Rudy's there, they're going to have a hard time getting boards on those guys and everything. So,
Yeah.
And we've seen them get taken advantage of before. Wasn't that the team that Reggie Jackson and DeAndre Jordan just had an out-of-body experience like they were back in 2014?
The same season. Yeah.
The same season. So, no. I'm not believing in them. Hell no.
Yeah.
But do you think that, like, they would shake it up if they failed in the postseason, though?
What do you mean shake it up?
Like, if they would say, okay, we're not bringing back Paul George, we're not bringing back James Harden, we're going to move in a whole, like
so
all
right, so the Clippers for me,
yeah,
it's almost like the Sixers where you just have to go with it. Sometimes the cards you're dealt is better than a lot of other hands, and you know what? Even though I don't have as much faith, and I've seen this fail time and time again, I have to keep it rolling. Like, it is what it is, and I just need to ride this thing out up until it ends, And I think Jerry West is probably thinking that as well, where maybe off a string of luck, we could get something going for these guys. But at the same time, I keep telling people all the time, you're stupid to sit here and just think that, all right, something's not working, just blow the team up and tank. That's not good business. Like, this is a business. This is first, most important of all things. is business, money.
Yeah.
Winning is secondary to money. The reason why winning is very important because winning brings money. But at the end of the day, this is a business.
It is.
And I cannot sit here and just get rid of all of my people want to be mad, but all of my superstars, marquee figures, and Russ, James, Kawhi, and PG. Why am I giving up all of the things that is generating me money? Because we're not losing when this is probably the most star-studded cast we've had in our whole entire history. Doesn't make sense.
I got one answer for you. Okay? One. Because I agree with everything Dub said. I think everything Dub said was spot on. The inverse of that would be, why am I paying like several dollars above the luxury tax? Why am I now taking a repeater tax where there is a per dollar multiplier, like 0.75 per each dollar, which means if it's 200, it's really like $400 million plus luxury tax for a team that can't even make it out the first round or can't even make it to a conference finals, when I could just save on all that money because, as you said, it is a business. That would be the one factor I will put here in terms of why they might not want to move in the same direction. But I also think, to your point, that's what makes the West kind of hard to me, because I think we understand how good the Western Conference is, and ultimately most of these teams just are kind of stuck. And it's like, are you really going to go down a whole other level? It's hard to see these teams really making a drastic swing, at least this season.
Yeah. For me though, like I was gonna say the Clippers were the one team out of the way. I mean, I've said that when the trade went down. I was like, if they don't at least make it to a conference finals, somebody leaving or somebody getting traded. Like that's just how it is, right?
Mm.
So I look at this and I say, this whole Kawhi and Paul George experiment has been happening. This is what, the fourth year of it, right? So in that time, like Dub said, you get to a point where you start off with Kawhi and Paul George and you think that's enough, right? But then, like Dub said, Paul George being up and down in the postseason, you not knowing if you're going to get pandemic P or a playoff P or a healthy Kawhi or a unhealthy Kawhi, like an injured Kawhi, right? So like there's so many factors with this Clippers team over the years that if you're the general manager, you're kind of afraid of, right? So they buy into the fact that, okay, a Russell Westbrook isn't working in LA. He just does, or in for the Lakers, he just doesn't fit over there, but he's going to fit over here with us, right? We need a good bench spark plug. We need an energy guy. So they're going to make the move for us. Then they sit and they say, okay, we need somebody outside of Kawhi and Paul George that can run this offense because they're ball dominant players, but they're not facilitators, right? They're scorers, right? So they go get a James Harden. That's our facilitator, and he can get his points off when he needs to. So to me, I looked at the trade this year and I was like, they're buying in to win it all. If you don't win it all, somebody's going to end up gone, because I think it could be PG, because he's going to get to a point where he might be like, you know what? This was an experiment. It's not working. You know what I'm saying? Like I agreed to stay in Oklahoma City, but then I swerved them and I ended up over here, right? I bought into the idea. It's not panning out. We're 4 Hall of Famers on this team at this point, and we're still not being able to get over the hump. So that's a problem. At the same time, though, if I were to look into the Eastern Conference, the New York Knicks are a team that I thought one of y'all would say. Julius Randle just is out for the season, right?
Yes.
So the Julius Randle experiment could be over, right? Because they think about it.
That's a blessing.
Wait, okay, right. But he just, you're with me, Dub. You're with me. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
It could be, right? So if there was a team in the Eastern Conference that would be like, okay, if we don't, get over the hump, it'll be the Knicks being like, okay, maybe the Julius Randle experiment is done. Let's see what else we can find on the market. Something like that, right? So you don't think so?
Well, for Julius, that's not the Knicks. That's Julius Randle. The Knicks have set up their team to where, like, they especially for the next 2 years, like, they could contend and be a very good team in the postseason especially with all the acquisitions they made. Maybe
Yeah.
Julius Randle, like he's the one that needs to earn it. Now he went through a season-ending injury, and now they're gonna be like, okay, we can move off of this guy and get some more wing defenders, versatile
Yeah,
wings
yeah.
at the 4 position. But that doesn't mean that the team in which that they have right now is in question. That team may be even better because of the acquisitions they can make without Julius Randle. So in my mind, the Knicks right now, it's just amazing what they've been doing. They are set up so beautifully because you have a star-studded guy in Jalen Brunson, surrounded him with amazing role players that playing great. And now the superstar that you signed for I think it was 4 years ago, right? He's moving off. Somebody that has been underperforming for you in the postseason forever. Now you can sit here and move off, still have your superstar in Jalen Brunson for the cheap end, have him and surround him with a bunch of role players that can complement him even more than you have already had. Not going to lie, the Knicks are set up so beautifully for this offseason, bro. And I cannot wait for the moves they make. And I cannot wait to see that the run they go on, because even though Julius Randle's not there, Stephen A. Smith's mad that he's hurt.
Crying.
Yo, I think they're going to be fine.
Look. Here's a thought too, because earlier today I was at work and Hoopology texted us in our group chat and was like, "I'm done with basketball." And so I'm like, what the hell is he mad about? Go see, and I'm like, okay, damn, that sucks. But my initial thought to him was, dude, this could be a good thing. Like, when you look at Julius Randle, like Dub said, this is a guy that underperformed a lot of the times where pressure was on him and New York fans, all they had to root for was Julius Randle. We know what a player like Jalen Brunson can bring to a team in the postseason. I always think back to the time that Luka was out in the first round when he was still with Dallas that last year. Jalen Brunson went stupid. And I'm like, yo, that one round put him on the map, got him the bag. He ends up in New York. He ends up in the Mecca, right? In Madison Square Garden, balling out some more. Just dropped the 60 piece and lost, but it was a 60 piece. Okay, you know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, all right, this man can really get it done. There was a point, a month and a half ago where, media was talking about if Julius Randle could be a number one option and things like, I mean, not Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson could be a number one option and things like that. So to Dub's point, when I look at what they did at the trade deadline, the pieces that they have brought in, the pieces that are around him now, like a Dante DiVincenzo, like an OG Anunoby, hopefully when he gets healthy. Mitchell Robinson was balling out for them. Isaiah Hartenstein has been amazing for them this year, right? Has taken a pretty significant jump, in my opinion, in terms of just knowing his role for this team and fulfilling it to the best of his abilities, that are resulting in the Knicks having a pretty damn good defense. That's a noticeable defense for us as the fans to be like, okay, you get the right, like you're moving in the right direction. What I said when I brought up Julius Randle, my point was literally kind of what Dub alluded to. Now they're in a position where, in terms of making changes, that was one of the biggest acquisitions you've had in the last 3 years, right? So moving off of that and then looking at what you have, because you have a postseason run right here to see what you can really work with. And then come offseason time, like Dub said, it'll be interesting to see if the Knicks, get bounced in the first or second round. They're going to be sitting there saying, okay, what pieces do we really need? We know we have, what pieces do we need to complement what we already have in Jalen Brunson and Dante, right? So it could be a game changer for the New York Knicks, this whole entire situation. Philly, don't even get me started. We already talked about Philly and what their offseason could look like and if things don't get done over there. But the one team in the East that I'm like looking at and I'm like, yo, this playoffs is going to be a big testament to what moves you can make in the future. It's the Knicks. Like, it's just how I see it.
I think the Knicks are interesting. I hear a lot of people saying that it's a good thing if they move off of Randall, and I agree. But I think it has to be for something that is a actual upgrade. I think if you just lose Randall and you're not able to actually improve your roster, it's not really worth it. I think Randall for the regular season covers up a lot of flaws with his other shot making now that he's learned how to let Jalen Brunson have the ball more. But I feel like if they don't upgrade that with a true star, then it's not really a move that's going to make them better moving forward. I've heard people say in the chat, Paul George on that team would be great. And I do think on paper, like Brunson, Paul George, and OG sounds great. But Honestly, if I'm the Knicks, like the answer has to be someone like a Joel Embiid, like a
That's
real
what I
like
said. That's what I said too.
yeah.
When Hoop texted me, the first thing I said was Joel Embiid to the Knicks confirmed. And he was like, hey man, if this is what we're
Yeah.
dealing with in terms of health now, I don't want a I don't want a Joel Embiid as a Knicks fan because of his health history. But I was like, I've been saying it for the longest. Imagine if Joel Embiid could turn Philadelphia up to being a troll and the DX crotch chops and averaging 30, all of that. Imagine a player with his personality and his skill set in Madison Square Garden alongside a Jalen Brunson. I
Yeah,
think
see,
that could, you know,
like it's that, but more than anything for the Knicks, it's the way their front office has made moves. Because what a lot of people really underrate is they haven't given up severe draft capital to get the players that they've had. Right?
Mhm.
They got OG with basically 1 second round pick
For
and
crumbs.
RJ Barrett, who they weren't trying to keep, and they didn't
Quickly.
feel like overpaying for Emmanuel quickly. So that's how they got their roster. And to me, once you get OG and you're already seeing exactly how good Jalen Brunson is, what you're doing is you're trying to establish a team that okay, we're a very good team. When you add this player that's very, very, very good to this team, we're now a true contender. I don't feel like this
Mhm.
team right now is a true contender. I think they're a very, very good team, but they have the resources and the know-how, and also they have a prime destination in New York, right? New York and LA will always be the two biggest markets in basketball. So they have a chance to actually get into that conversation. And to me, I don't think Randall is a good enough player to say we already have it. I don't think he's that, type of player. He has many flaws in his game in the postseason. He gets exposed for that routinely. But I still feel like he's able to get them to a part where he takes the pressure off of Brunson for a full regular season, and he's good enough to maintain that value. But in terms of taking that next step, you have to add and not just say, okay, without him, we'll be that type of team. I don't think they are yet.
I think for the Boston Celtics, this could be the last hurrah for Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. I think
Okay.
if they lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think you got to make a move and probably got to trade Jalen Brown. They make the finals and lose, maybe, but even then, like they've been in contention for so long now. They've been kind of this perennial contender. Where
Mhm.
teams say, okay, they're bound to win a ring, but when? And at some point, how many chances are you going to give that duo? You're not going to get rid of Tatum because he's clearly the lead guy, the number one guy. They're going to keep him. So getting off of Jalen Brown, who I think was still valuable to the league. He's still a young player. Getting off of him and maybe getting a vet. I mean, if you make a trade, I'm saying it's crazy. I mean, if the Clippers lose, right? If they lose, Boston, let's say, loses in the Eastern Conference Finals, do you trade a Jalen Brown for maybe a Kawhi Leonard, a Paul George, just to kind of change it up there, get a guy there? Do you trade a Jalen Brown for 2 years, 3 years of Kevin Durant? If the Suns really fall apart and maybe they want to add a younger piece, you get a veteran in Durant. So I think maybe I think the Celtics would be willing to trade a young guy, Jalen Brown, for a key vet guy who's still good. Because I just don't see giving them any more chances. Because at some point, it's just like you're surrounded with all these pieces and you still can't get it done. What's the point of running it back?
I feel like that's the popular thing to say on paper, but I think when you agree to pay Jalen Brown $300 million,
Mm.
you're in it for the long haul. I
For
feel like
real.
unloading that contract after another season of failure for an aging star could actually be the worst thing that you do. I feel like if they're not able to win this year, what they're banking on it is, hey, Tatum is 26, Jalen Brown is his same age, right? Like
Mm.
when they're 28, 29, they're going to be those guys. But you want to win within this year or next year. To me, that's the real window for those two guys. I entertain the idea of trading Jalen Brown, but again, when you say things like, "Are they trading him for Kawhi? Are they trading him for a aging star that
Mm.
has many injury concerns that isn't going to be consistently there, just like Jalen Brown would be?" I don't think they do that. Are they trading him for Paul George, another aging guy who isn't as good as a Kawhi Leonard? I don't think they do that. I think for Boston, they're content with saying, okay, we have the best roster in the NBA. Every year, Jalen Brown and Tatum take steps in getting better. We were able to make it to the finals with these two guys, and now we have a all-time team based on the numbers and the record. So we should get it done this year. And if we don't, then we bring it back again next year because we're still going to be at the top of the East. I think this is a different conversation if Boston's in the West
Mhm.
Yeah.
because we know how competitive that Western Conference is. But if Boston goes to the finals and they lose, are they trading Jaylen Brown? No. I think they're going to tell themselves, okay, we made it to the finals. We ran into Denver, who has the best player in the league. We lost. It's tough. We hate that. We're going to make other marginal moves to improve, but clearly
What if
the
they lose the
blueprint
Eastern
is
Conference
there.
Finals? What if they lose the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think the way that they lose matters
Mhm.
more than if they
Yeah.
lose or not.
I
I
hear
think
you.
the
Exactly.
way,
Yep.
and even with the way, Jalen, it's just hard because in this new era with the CBA, like you want to keep the younger guys as they, ascend to that value. And
Yeah.
more importantly, it's like, okay, if you're trading Jaylen Brown, you want to get a guy that you feel like you can rely on to not only be a better player than Jaylen Brown, but be available consistently next to Tatum.
hmm
That's that's what makes it hard for me to think that Boston would really pull that trigger.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely players who, in the regular season won't show up at as many games. Jaylen Brown being durable, going to show up every night 100%. I do think with some of these vets, they're more inclined to win you games in the playoffs. Again, we'll see Jaylen Brown's performance in this playoffs. I just think now it's been, 4 years that this duo has been a quote-unquote perennial contender,
Yeah.
picked to come out of the East now, or, one of the top teams in the East. It's just like, how many more years do you give them to keep trying to go out and keep coming short? When I think, again, like you said, Jaylen Brown, I think, does have a lot of trade value, especially because he is young, where I understand it is a risk trading a 25-year-old.
They can't trade him now.
Or, I mean,
Yeah. With the, with
this
the
offseason-
as trying to move off of that deal, I mean,
Yeah, you
Oh, yeah,
gave
but I
him
think
you gave him a
him
mega
60 or
deal.
50 mil. Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
give him a
gave
mega
him the
deal.
biggest
It's gonna be
contract
hard
in
to trade
NBA
that mega
history.
deal. That's what I'm saying. Like
For sure, yeah,
I,
it'll definitely be hard, 100%. But do I think a team will be willing to take him? Yes, and I think there's players out there who they'll just take to get him over the top. Because I mean, just consistently making the Eastern Conference Finals, or making another finals and losing, at some point it's like, all right, you got to win one.
I see what you're saying, Jalen, but I think that if like I'm more inclined to agree with Gifted here in the fact that like if they make it to the finals, which is something that we all, if you are looking at this objectively and you're looking at the Eastern, like the one team that I know should make the finals over everyone else should
should be
be
Boston.
Should be
right?
Boston.
So it's like if they were to go out there and lose in the finals, if I'm the front office, I'm like, look, like Gifted said, it's based on the situation. If they lose to Denver, right? Say Jokic goes out there and averages a 30-point triple-double, Jamal Murray's cooking, whatever. There's factors where you have to look at it and you're like, okay, say like Kristaps Porzingis outplays Jaylen Brown, right?
Mhm.
Then I'd be like, okay, maybe they might look at that and be like, that's something that we could, look and see what we have on the table. But at the same time, the first thought that comes into my head is they paid this man over $300 million, right? So it's like being that they've invested that much money into the future of this team, knowing that Jason Tatum is going to get more money than that, right?
Yep.
He is the franchise player. I think that they are more inclined to be bought in on the fact that if we are perennial contenders, right, to the point where people are looking at us and saying we're either a 1 seed or a 2 seed. If we are perennial contenders, that's enough for us to be willing to look back and say, if we were to go to the finals and lose, that okay, let's win it back next year. Because, like Gifta said, when you look at the roster from top to bottom, it's like, yo, they have more than enough to get you at least to the finals, to get you at least through the Eastern Conference. But if they were to lose and they're still going to come back the next year and still be perennial, finals contenders, I don't see them hitting the panic button. Like Dub alluded to earlier, teams that hit the panic button too soon, it just is a recipe for disaster because it's like you're just panicking in the moment, but not really looking at the long haul. They paid Jaylen Brown that much money. If they were to go into the finals and lose, they're going to run that shit back the very next year. They have no choice but to.
And another thing that Dub said, which again is another big point, right? Money is very important.
Yeah.
If I'm guaranteed to go to the final, because again, what I'm looking at more than anything is the conference that they're in, right? Because they're in the Eastern Conference, for the most part, like there's not that many teams in the East that we feel like, okay, they're gonna really be able to challenge Boston at their best for the next at least 2 years, right? So
Right.
so if you feel like we have a very strong chance every year to go to the NBA Finals pretty fairly,
Mhm.
then they're gonna take that because that level of consistent success for a franchise, like it's just hard for any team to fathom year after year we're going to the finals. Like that's what it is. And it feels like
Yeah.
for Boston, that's the current situation that they're in. And more importantly, when the cap goes up and they reach that second apron luxury tax threshold and they have no other way to improve their team, it's like, okay, well now because of the new CBA, Brown, right? Next year he's gonna be making $49 million. Now you can't aggregate salary. Now you have to trade him straight up 1-for-1. The only other players are like Cat, Bradley Beal, right? Like there's not that many
Traded for
good
Donovan Mitchell,
players.
like a sign and trade of the Donovan Mitchell.
Um, so it would have to be that if the money is matching. Is Donovan
Yeah.
making 49?
I would assume. I mean, whichever deal, he's a free agent right after the season, so whatever deal he signed, I'm going to assume it's going to be close to the 40 to 50 range.
Yeah, Donovan's next year is guaranteed for I think what 38, and then after that he's a free
After
agent.
that. Okay.
Yeah. So like it really depends on again like the way that they go out and also where their cap is because again if they're over the second apron, just so people in the chat understand, if you're over the second apron, other teams cannot have multiple players in deals for you trading a player. It has to be a straight up 1-for-1 where the
Yeah.
money matches,
Mhm.
which means
Right.
you have to look at players who are making $49 million and ask yourself, are these players better than Jaylen Brown? You're going to find some that are, but they're superstar players that aren't going to get traded in the first place. Then you're going to find other guys who are also overpaid, but just aren't as good as Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
I hear that. I think for Boston, it's more so if they lose in the Eastern Conference Finals or before that is when.
But even if they lose, the thing, well, Drew Holiday's moving off of his contract this season, I think. So even if they lose, bro, they're not going to be looking to trade them at all.
Yeah.
They won't. They can't because
so keep
my
on
whole thing-
losing.
yes, that's exactly what they're
Just
going to
keep on
do.
losing.
Like that, but some people believe in that. Some people believe in their players. Some people believe in what they got, and they probably just believe in what they got. Right? That's why they made that mega deal. Right? Mark Cuban, perfect example. Mark Cuban was talking about this in some type of interview he was doing. I forget which one, but he was telling them like, yeah, everyone was saying Kyrie's a hot case. Everyone was saying this. I don't know if you should really believe in him. He went to go meet Kyrie. He was like, "Oh, I don't know what these guys are talking about." He said, "I talked to him and I know all of his teammates. Talked to all of his teammates. They all hug him. They love him and everything like that. Like, there's just a certain things that Kyrie wants and wanted, and that the teams were meeting. And then Mark Cuban's looking at it like, I believe in that. He said, I can provide that for him. I can hand. He said he don't like the media. They get him emotional because he cares too much. Cool, no problem. I've been dealing with media my whole entire life, bro. We'll take on all that backlash, right? So, but he believes in the players. He believes in what they got. He believes what they can be. And when the Celtics offered Jaylen Brown that contract, they basically verbatim stated, I believe in this player and I believe in what you can do, knowing that we're going to have to pay JT more money than this guy. So it is, to me, they shot themselves in the foot already by getting on that contract with him. And it is what it like. There's no way to get off of that. There's no way at all. It was good, Hayes. But Gifted.
What's
I want
up?
to talk to you about something, sir.
Okay.
Because who told you that the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns was gonna make it out the play-in?
You said that.
And what, yo, did you see Phoenix last night? I mean, the other night. Wait, was it last night?
It was last night. It was last night.
Last night. Did you see Phoenix last night? They got Beal.
The Cavs. Yeah.
Bro, they got Beal working more on ball. They got Devin Booker working off ball more. And I'm like, yeah, D-Book dropping 40. You feel me? Yo, I'm looking. I keep telling people about the Suns. I've been saying it all year, bro. And I'm like,
they're gonna flame out, bro.
They're not gonna, bro. They got Beal more on the ball. Look, and I will say, so much easier for D-Book.
I will say that the adjustment to have Bradley Beal's role as, I guess, not necessarily primary ball handler, but more ball handling roles and responsibilities, has looked great, I will say. And the one thing I told you before, Dub, was that the only issue that I have with Phoenix is them having some sort of identity on the offensive side of the ball that's not just, oh, look at our big three, right? So with Bradley Beal and the role that he was doing last night, I was like, this looks like an offense. This looks like a scheme, right? So if they were able to continue to build upon what they did last night, then I'll be with you on that, right? I'll be like, okay, they can look dangerous, assuming health and everything is all right. Conference finals, maybe, right? But this is the same Suns team that can go out there and look as dominant as they were last night, and then they still have the toughest remaining schedule in basketball. So it's not like they can't slip, right? They still got to go up against, I think, the Timberwolves twice. I know they play the
Pelicans.
Kings to be able to get that one. The Pelicans is going to be up in there.
Clippers on a back-to-back.
And the Clippers is where it's like, okay.
Yeah, back-to-back Clippers is going to be very intense for them.
Let me tell y'all this.
Go ahead.
Because they're 3 games behind them.
Uh-huh.
Let's say if the Suns, they got all, because they're facing good comp and performing well.
Yeah.
Defeated the Nuggets. They got killed by the Thunder. Defeated the Pelicans and just killed and destroyed the Cavs. Y'all going to tell me that in these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games left, that you got them going positive? But even then, the Clippers were there 3 games behind the Clippers. Bro, let's say if they win both those games.
I see what you're saying.
That's a 4 seed right there, baby. Hey,
I think I'm more high on the Mavs making it to the 4th seed than the Suns, but it's only because, like I said, when I look at the Mavericks and what they were doing, at least in the 7 games that they had won straight before the Warriors beat them, which we all knew that was going to happen, but it is what it is. When I looked at the team, I was like, yo, throughout that 7-game stretch, the offense looked virtually unbeatable. We talked about it before. Giving Luka Doncic young, athletic guys to throw up lobs to. Kyrie Irving is out here dunking on niggas, bro. How many dunks Kyrie got this year? More than his entire career prior to. I promise you. Kyrie out here catching lobs. That is dangerous. That is scary, right? So the offense or at least the identity on offense that they've been able to find, I trust that a little bit more than the Suns, because when going into the season, you looked at the Suns, you were like Bradley Beal, KD, D-Book. Yeah. And they struggled a lot for this season. I hope that the Suns are able to figure out a little something in the last 6 games. But, like, I'm not going to say that I think that they're just going to go out there and lose, like, 5 out of the last 6. I could see them taking some games. I see them taking a game off the Clippers. I could see them beating the Pelicans, right? But I can also see these other teams, like the Clippers and the Pelicans, they can still get it as well. Like, they can still find that little last bit of oomph and effort to go out there and win these games, because these are very important games for the Suns. Very important.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Royce O'Neal,
how you doing,
shout
bro?
out him. Hayes in the building.
What's going on, fellas?
Yeah, Hayes, what's your take in what's your take on these kind of teams that might blow it up or make a big trade if the playoffs don't go so well for them, whether it's the Suns, Clippers, Boston, Philly, whoever the case may be?
I don't see Boston doing that. I think they're going to try to keep that core together and just keep adding to it. I don't see a big blow up move for them. The Suns just got together. I don't necessarily see it for them either. If I had to look, I'm looking more towards the Eastern Conference. If I had to look at a team that I think the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are probably the one I'm looking at the most as far as teams, and I just don't see the Suns doing it after they just put that team together. I just don't do it. I know that we've had that conversation before. I think me, Dub, and Gifted have had that a little bit. I don't see them necessarily blowing it up after they just put it together. So
it's next year. It's next year.
Yeah.
What do you think the Hawks do? If
they have to, to me, you've seen it now. The Hawks look better with DeJounte playing point guard than being off ball. So to me, you got to move either Trey or DeJounte this summer. You have
blow
to
that whole shit up, honestly.
I mean, they were. They said this leading to the trade deadline. The only 2 players that they looked at as untouchable were Johnson and Trae Young. Now I don't know if the Trae Young part has changed now with DeJounte, but
you can't trade Jalen Johnson.
You can't. That's what I'm saying. You can't trade Jalen, but
he's great, man.
You have to. I think you have to move one of DeJounte. DeJounte still has 2 years left on his deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So you take advantage of that to move him or Trey while they still have years left on their deal and they're still fairly young.
Sounds like a good plan. Sounds like a good plan for the Hawks. Don't hate it. Don't hate it. Now we'll go into the title of the show today. We're talking about Two guys, generational talents. Two guys who should win 3 to 4 MVPs, if not more, apiece over the next decade.
That's a
Luka
lot, man.
It is a lot, but these two players are there,
Damn, Jalen.
right? You got Luka Doncic at
You said
25
4
years old.
MVPs a piece.
Piece.
God
A
damn.
I'll tell you.
A piece.
A piece?
A piece is crazy.
That's
man.
impossible.
Decade,
I swear
That's,
that's
that's
impossible.
a decade. That's 8 years
Yeah,
out of the
I'm
decade
telling
that
you,
either
over the
Wemby or
next
Luka
decade,
will
I
That's
think
win.
what I
Wemby
mean.
or-
He's saying,
That's
he's saying
impossible.
So
eight
you're,
years
you're
decade.
saying Wemby and Luka will own the next decade is what we're saying right now.
Yes,
They will
that's
own
what
the
we're
next
saying.
decade.
I mean,
Yeah.
they will to a degree, but like
Yeah.
Yeah.
you got
Or-
to account for one of those years that they be like, we tired of these niggas winning MVP. Give it
Yeah,
to
we
us.
try to count them on us too. We try to count them on us too.
That's definitely possible.
They're gonna give one,
I like the way. Okay,
right? They're gonna give one to SGA. SGA gonna sneak one in there, and then probably like I don't know, and then they might sneak one in. Maybe Anthony Edwards. They might sneak him one.
Cade.
yeah.
Cade
somebody.
Cunningham. Cade
Yeah, I
Cunningham.
mean, Cade. I'm a big fan of
Cade
Cade.
Cunningham.
Cade
They might
Cunningham
sneak
win
him
an
one.
MVP?
Hell,
Why not?
no. I'm sorry. Unless it goes somewhere else.
That's Luka. That's
How
Luka.
many milligrams was
Hey,
that
hey.
gummy, my boy?
That's Luka. That's Luka Jr.
Nah,
Nah.
Luka Jr. is crazy. Now you're being late. He might win a Derrick
I
Rose
swear that
MVP,
is.
you know, when they're
You
hating
give
on-
that man space. Watch what he's gonna do. I swear. You
Can we-
give
can
Cade
we-
space.
I want Cade on that.
Can they make the playoffs yet? Can they win 30 games first before we start talking about
They-
Cade's
nah,
ability
nah,
to
that-
win
that
MVP?
too.
That's a they issue, not a Cade issue.
not a
man.
Cade,
That's
that's
they.
It's a
Cade is
Cade
like
issue
that.
because he's never going to win an MVP with what they got
When's
going
his
on right
contract
now.
up? When's his contract up?
Let me see.
He's-
Actually,
he's-
I
Hold on,
did
wait,
don't
they
He's
know.
got
talking about the next 10 years, bro.
Yeah, but
Okay,
hold-
okay.
Hold on,
But you
they
got
got some, Detroit got some pieces now. Let's not act like
You act like they're going to win 13
Hold
games for 10 years.
on. That
Bro,
record is
calm
real
down.
bad.
it's Detroit, bro. They are cursed.
I would calm
See,
down
he
with
got to
the
get up
pieces,
out of
though.
there.
Hey, now they got Malachi Flynn.
Oh, you know what? They
50-piece
actually
Malachi
haven't
Flynn.
even. Yeah. They haven't even paid Cade yet. He's in his third
Rookie
season.
deal?
He's got one more club exercise year, and then in 25 he would enter restricted free agency. So he's not even paid yet.
See?
Yeah, so that means that they're not letting Cade go away in restricted free agency. They're gonna pay whatever. So he's stuck in Detroit for
Nah,
at least
Cade-
another
Cade-
6 to 7 years.
Cade wants to be a winner, man. He's going to leave.
Yeah, that's fine, but that's
He's gonna-
unfortunate. That's just
give
not
that,
the way the
give
NBA
that man
contracts work.
space. Give that man space, though. I promise you, bro. His offensive numbers are going to be through the roof.
He
I
gonna
promise
take the
y'all.
bag. We know this.
Yeah,
Man,
Hey,
yeah.
look, I think they got some building blocks there. Cade, Jalen Durant, Asir Thompson. You can build around those guys. You can build that. That's a
James
nice little
Wiseman.
three-piece.
Yeah.
Wiseman could chill out. But those three, I think, can definitely.
Up outta here.
Oh, yeah,
Wiseman can
those
chill
two
out,
can
it's
definitely be
hilarious.
some nice building blocks. That team is more talented than their record persists. But back to the next 10 years, all right? So,
Wait,
Yeah.
Jalen. Before you ask that question, you just made me think of a question. You said they're more talented than their record shows.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Are they more talented? Are they a more talented team than the Washington Wizards? You real with me, everybody.
Before they traded them, yes.
You know what?
Okay.
So Cade would be the best player out of
Right.
the whole bunch, right?
Yeah.
Cade would be
Right.
the best player.
Yeah.
Then shoot. Then you got
What, Kuzma?
Jalen
Yeah,
Jalen
Kuzma's
Durant,
next.
man.
Kuzma's
Kuzma's
Kuzma would be
next.
next.
But Jalen Durant's a nice piece. Like he's the work.
Jalen Durant is a nice,
nice
a
piece.
nice-
Yeah,
He's
very
nice,
nice
but
piece.
he's still not better than Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, he's not better than him yet, but I can
Okay.
see him becoming more impactful.
They had a roster that was pretty should have been better than what it was, but then
Yeah.
they traded them all away. Right
Yeah.
now, the team is trash. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Right now, it's terrible. But
Yeah.
for a good portion of the year, like they actually did have some people on the crew
Yeah.
that should have had.
And I think Asir
outcome.
Thompson. I mean, you give him a
Asar
couple
for
years.
sure. Yeah.
They have
I
Bogut
think
too.
he'll be good, but he has to figure out what he is offensively.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
He can't be
Yeah.
that much of a non-shooter. He finds ways to still be impactful, which is great. But that shit's not gonna last 2 or 3 years in the NBA not being able to shoot like that.
He's
for
got to
real.
figure out the
yeah,
offense for
yeah,
sure. He's got to figure out the offense for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Shout out Detroit. They've been playing better than the Raptors. Sadly, the Raptors have been tanking. But back to the next 10 years. So next 10 years, who do you think is going to be more successful in the league in terms of, let's say, MVPs and winning championships? Luka or Wemby?
Now that's interesting.
It is.
That's interesting because you're basically asking me, are the Spurs gonna get good people
Right.
to
Right.
put a team
Well-
around Wemby in the next decade? And will that be more than what Luka already has? Because I would argue that Luka and Kyrie still don't have the best of best rosters around them. I feel like they are Mikal Bridges away from really being in that like, wow, this team could be like
I like
crazy,
that move.
filthy
Mikal.
conversation.
Yep.
So
That's a
so
good
like
move.
it's just tough because, bro, I'm telling you, with Luka and Kyrie, I don't feel like you need to have like a crazy absurd roster. You just have to shore up the defensive like holes, and then once you do that, like they're really in that conversation to be like real title contenders, not just guys who can overpower anyone for like a full series. Wemby is in such a terrible situation, but we know how fast the NBA moves. Like they have the money, they can overpay guys, they can get a star player in there. The infrastructure could drastically shift in the next 5 years for the Spurs.
Mhm.
And I think Wemby is gonna be like a phenomenal player. Like, bro, I'm sorry. When you putting up damn near quadruple doubles versus Jokic in the head-to-head matchup,
Mhm.
9 blocks, like
That's
I
big.
think he's gonna be a very, very great player, but I feel like you still need to have really good pieces around him. The only one in that core that I believe in with Wemby is really Vassell. I don't believe in
I agree
Sohan.
with you. Yep, I agree with you,
So
100%.
it's like, are they gonna get someone that fits that mold with them? I just don't know if I can bank on that. I think Luka is closer to that. And also, Luka is a regular season away from really winning MVP. He's already first
God.
team
Mhm.
every single time. So I think in terms of the success standpoint, I think that's going to probably go to Luka more than Wemby, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. In literally, my thing was, I feel like in the next 10 years, Luka is in a position where he is going to have the best probability of, I guess you want to say, owning the league or whatever. Because,
Yeah.
like Gifted just said, Luka Doncic has been knocking on the door for MVP for like 3 years now. Ever since he was like 21, back when they were like, if Luka does win it, he'll be the youngest MVP ever, right? He had a case back then, even when he was 21, right? So it's like the more and more that the years are going to go on, and Mark Cuban is realizing, like Gifted just said, you have to seal up the things that are, the weaknesses of your two-star players. Kyrie's a better defender than Luka Doncic is, but that isn't going to be enough. Mikal Bridges was the perfect analogy for this equation, because you get a guy like him who doesn't need to be messing up the chemistry between, if am I the third option or I am the two op, whatever.
And he can shoot.
And he can shoot, and he can play
fit.
lockdown defense, right? So you look at who they have in his place, who you got, or at least who they've had in his place over the years, the Dorian Finney-Smiths and the Derrick Jones Juniors and all of that, and you sit back and you think, okay, you put a guy right there that is a 3-and-D guy to the T, and I would think that would be Mikal Bridges of all people, at least in terms of fitting in with this Dallas Mavericks team. And then you might have a recipe for deeper postseason runs than what they've put together so far. Even in the 1 year where they made it to the Western Conference Finals, I said it before, if Jokic has Jamal Murray and MPJ, the Mavs aren't making it to the Western Conference Finals, right? The Nuggets going up against the Warriors, they have a much better shot at beating them that year, right? The whole landscape of the Western Conference was completely different than what it is right now. So comparing that to Wembanyama, it's like, okay, one, in 10 years, I promise you, the quadruple double will be named the Wembanyama or the Wemby, whatever. He is going to
he's gonna get one. He's
absolutely
gonna get one for sure.
revolutionize quadruple doubles and just stuffing the stat sheet, right? I've heard a lot of people say, and in the earlier parts of the season when Wemby was doing great things, they'd be like, oh, well, he's 7'5", whatever. Now it's to a point where we're looking back and we're saying, okay, how many other 7-footers in NBA history have had this much of an impact in terms of stuffing the stat sheet and individual success compared to a Wembanyama? In my opinion, Wembanyama's the rookie campaign that he is putting together this season is like the greatest one I've ever seen.
Time out. No, it's not. No,
Yes, it
it's
is.
not. Tim
Yes, it
Duncan
is.
was
With
better than
LeBron.
No,
Oh, I thought he was going to say LeBron.
It's
I thought he was
not
going to say
LeBron.
LeBron.
No, it's not LeBron. It's Tim Duncan had a better rookie season, without a doubt. And
He
look
had
at the
a
numbers, 100%. Tim Duncan had a way better rookie season, but Tim Duncan was also 22 coming in.
Tim Duncan was on a winning
college.
team. If
Exactly.
Wembanyama was
Tim
on a
Duncan-
winning team
Hold
doing
on.
this, he would be.
Tim
a lot of
Duncan was
people
the
like
reason. Was
Okay,
the sole-
Jalen,
the
I see
main
what you're
reason
saying.
He wasn't the sole reason.
He wasn't
Wait,
the sole
wait,
reason.
wait.
The sole
Not the
reason?
sole- not the
That's
sole
not
reason.
true.
He was the
Okay,
main
okay.
reason. He was the
Okay.
main. He was the main.
Okay,
He
listen.
was one of the
He was
mains.
a better
Like
scorer.
the
He was
Spurs
more
I
are
advanced
think there's
scorer,
an
better
easy. I
passer,
think there's an easy
defense
way
right
to
there.
bridge this
better
conversation. Okay?
passer. He was
I
not
think-
a better
Tim
passer.
Duncan
at
was a
all.
better passer than Wemby.
Oh
Yes,
God,
100%.
Jalen,
No,
Jalen, just wait
not
one second,
anymore.
Jalen.
Nah.
Wait one
Not
second. Wait 1 second, please. Okay.
Mhm.
I think the easy way to bridge this conversation, because it's getting hot in here, right?
It's getting hot as hell.
It's
At
getting
19
hot in here.
At 19 years old, entering the league,
Mhm.
does he have the best age 19 season coming?
Oh, the
into
best
the league?
age 19 season.
That's a
That
that's a good
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
gifted
that's the best way to do it because
yeah.
again,
Yeah.
right. All like many other guys came in after years of college,
Yep,
this and that. All he has is his overseas,
Yep.
professional, stuff before coming into the league. Does he have the best age 19 season?
in terms of
That's
the best age 19 season,
That's the question.
I will say yes.
It's better than
I mean,
LeBron when he was
that's
19. Let's
I'm
talk
not
about
gonna
it.
lie.
Yeah. He's
Let's
at
talk
a
about
better. He's at a better. He's at a better. I mean, hold up.
Look, Melo should have won Rookie of the Year in 2003.
He
Stop.
should have won it. He definitely should
Stop.
That's a debate to be had. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I mean, LeBron was simply, I mean, Wemby's coming more refined with his game. LeBron was still living off the super athlete that he was.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
getting buckets.
And
Well,
that's the thing
100%,
too, because when you look at Wemby's when you look at like the split stats, and you're like, okay, because I saw a side-by-side comparison the other day of rookie Wemby and rookie Shaq, and I was like, okay, if you're like 8 years old and you're looking at this and you're gonna be like, oh, you're not gonna know the context that's missing. You're gonna sit there and say, okay, Wembanyama, like Shaq was obviously better for field goal percentage, right? Majority of his shots were breaking backboards and shit, right?
Yep.
Wembanyama, on the other hand, he has a mid-range, has a three, is able to score in the paint at will, and is honestly a better defensive presence on the interior than Shaq. And that's not a knock to Shaq. It's more so just me saying, dude, he's 7'5" with a, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, right? 3.5 blocks a game is crazy as a rookie, but Shaq was damn near doing
leading the league in blocks as a rookie.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's phenomenal.
Not to mention the fact that he has more blocks totaled in his first year than 86% of the NBA history. Like,
it literally said 86% of NBA players in NBA history, he has more blocks than.
And that is crazy. But it's like it's something that I'm not too surprised at, but I will say the expectations that I had for Wemby going into this year, he's exceeded them. And I didn't even think he could do that. But he has. Like, I don't know.
We'll say Tim Duncan, when he came in as a rookie, hold on. I actually think Wemby is, again, great defender. I actually think Tim Duncan was a better defender his rookie year overall. I think he's actually a better man defender one-on-one than Wemby, because Wemby one-on-one still gets cooked quite a bit.
One-on-one for
he's
sure.
a great team.
Yeah.
I think Tim Duncan's there, and I think that gap is greater than Tim Duncan. The team defender was still phenomenal his rookie year. And again, he played, I believe, 4 years in college, right? 3 or 4 years in college. So obviously he came in more NBA body, you could say, ready. He had plenty of years, just 22, 23 at the time. Offensively, too, yes, I understand Wemby comes in more skilled, but Duncan will still give you 21, 22 a game. And this was in 1998, though, in a lot slower pace.
Right.
Defensively, right?
Yeah.
So those points were a little bit more valuable.
Y'all want to hear Tim Duncan's rookie stats compared to Wemby's rookie stats? It's scarily similar.
Similar,
so Tim Duncan in his rookie year averaged 21 points per game, 21.1 points per game. Wemby's at 21.2. Tim Duncan averaged 11.9 rebounds. Wemby's at 10.5. Tim Duncan averaged 2.5 blocks his rookie year. Wemby's clearly at 3.5 blocks. Wemby's also averaging 1.3 steals. Tim Duncan averaged right under a steal per game. Tim Duncan shot the ball better, 54% from the field on 15 shots. Wemby 16.5 shots at 46%.
And then once we adjust the numbers for like pace of play and the number
for pace, Tim Duncan rookie season adjusted for pace is like crazy. 26, 27.
Tim was like fifth. He was rookie of the year, like fifth in MVP that year or something like that. It was I think it was fifth in deep, like in terms of all of the major statistics major awards you could win. Tim was in the conversation at a young age. So let's give some love to Tim Duncan, not the guy that said Anthony Davis, who came on the panel and said Anthony Davis was miles ahead offensively compared to Tim Duncan. Wild. And you want to know what that's mostly attributed to? The "we done with the 90s" narrative. Y'all niggas disrespecting Tim Duncan now?
Yeah.
Even if we look, let's say like per 100 possessions, giving them both 100 possessions, Wemby's numbers is still like wild compared to
crazy.
Compared to Tim Duncan's.
And I'm sorry, but the one concept we have to provide for Wemby beyond the bad roster is he just started playing 30 minutes.
Yes,
Yeah,
literally.
I vividly remember against Detroit, he had a triple-double in 19 minutes. So like,
oh my God. I remember
he
that.
just started playing 30 minutes. So it's almost like if you say, okay, imagine if Wemby played like 30 to 34 minutes for the entire regular season, what his numbers would look like then. Like, that's crazy.
There's a lot of context when it comes to this season alone that I feel like a lot of people end up not really understanding until you just get reminded, right? Because when the Chet and Wemby thing was at the heat of its rivalry in terms of fans kind of picking a side, the one thing that I would always say was, because to a fan being like, hey, Chet has more wins, I'd be like, well, yeah, I wish Wemby had SGA on his team. That'd be crazy, but whatever. And then you factor in the fact that Wemby is playing significantly less minutes than every other rookie. And on top of that, bro just started getting past the ball by his teammates, right? Like that was a topic of discussion at one point in the year, was why are Wemby's teammates not getting him the ball, right? He's always in these open spots, yada, yada, yada. So the fact that he's had to deal with not only minutes restrictions, but teammate restrictions too, and to be able to put together this campaign is crazy.
So you know the big thing here, especially when we're talking about rookie Wemby and rookie Tim Duncan, there's a 10-minute gap between the two. Tim Duncan played 39 minutes in a game. Wemby plays 29 minutes in a game, right? So even if you want to adjust for the pace of play that they play now and the more opportunities for numbers, I get that.
Defensive,
but still, the fact that those numbers are still that close with a 10-point gap between minutes is wild to me. Even then, and we're talking about Wemby, and this is how great Wemby is, bro. You could compare his rookie year to what Tim Duncan was. If you want to say Tim Duncan's better rebounder, sure, he's a better rebounder than him. You want to say that he's a better one-on-one defender, sure, he's a better one-on-one defender. I don't think he's a better offensive player than him at all, especially with how Wembanyama has progressed from the beginning of the year to what he is now, especially with the players that's around them to sit here and help out with that offensive load. And Jalen, I'm just listen. You're just completely wrong here in terms of passing. Wembanyama right now is clear and miles better of a passer than what Tim Duncan ever was. No, he is.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
He is way better than him than he has ever been as a passer. I'm not even joking. If we look at the impact that Tim Duncan had on his teammates, Tim Duncan's teammates played better with him. But whether they were good or not, they were better with him. While Wemby, I didn't necessarily see a Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell play significantly better with Wemby. Tim Duncan. I hate you. You're so disgusting for even using that point. And you know you're nasty.
I got one question for you, Jalen. I got one question for you. So when Wemby is on the floor, the Spurs are like the 13th or 12th best defense in the NBA. When he's off the floor, they're the worst defense of all time. So wouldn't you say that making the team defense that much better by your presence is making your teammates better in that way?
That's fine. Yeah, 100%. That's great. I just don't think it's at the level of Tim Duncan. What Tim Duncan was able to do with his teammates, I just think was far more.
He had great teammates. He had David Robinson right next to him.
That's his right-hand man.
Other than David Robinson, who do you have?
Other than David Robinson, Sean, I think Sean Elliott was on the crew still. Cool. Avery Johnson was on the crew still. Who was that? I always get reminded of Robert De Niro.
Avery Johnson, Sean Elliott.
We're talking about relative to the time frame. The time frame, that supporting cast was good. Who was that other dude? He has like a weird Italian name. I forget what it is. Like Robert De Niro.
I said Vinny Del Negro.
My bad. I'm tripping. Yeah, Vinny Del Negro. Like they had a pretty solid cast there. And at that point in time, having two guys on the level of like Tim Duncan, David Robinson goes a long way in 1998. So yeah, bro, I'm not gonna lie. Like the whole impact on his teammates, I'm just calling cap. I'm sorry. Like I'm calling cap. I'm calling cap.
Vinny Del Negro, Sean Elliott, like they're cool, but they're not really. I'm not going to
They're
act like these guys
cool.
are incredible pieces.
Yeah,
Give you
relative
10,
to
9 points
Aaron.
a game. Yeah, even relative to Aaron.
At
like,
that
they were
time
fine.
frame, that was a good
Yeah,
that was a good
if-
support.
All you
Yes.
need, yes, you need another all-star and then some role players, 100%. During
Yes.
that time, 2 all-stars and role
I'm
players.
just saying,
Not
Wemby
enough.
is in a position where he's nowhere near being maximized by his teammates in
Exactly.
any way.
Exactly.
Everything he's
Fair.
doing is in spite of them not maximizing his talents, and he's still giving them chances to win. The other day, I know he shot very bad from the field. He was like 9 for 28 or whatever. But if you watch the game, he was the reason why they were in the game versus Jokic. Like, I've seen so many examples this season, right? Where literally, I remember they start the game, right? 15-2 run by the Spurs, right? He goes to the bench. He comes back in the game at the beginning of the second. They're down 12. Like that is how good of a player Victor is. Now, again, I don't want to do the arguing about who's better because, again, the era, all that stuff. And I'm gonna be honest, because I feel like basketball people aren't honest about the basketball they watch. I was not like I didn't watch all of Tim Duncan's rookie year. So again, I don't want to make that distinction. What I am telling you though is in terms of Wemby's impact for his rookie season, for you to be leading the league in blocks as a rookie, for you to be putting up triple doubles with blocks, for you to be putting up nearly a quadruple double versus the best player in the world, you're put in this situation. Now, I do think we're not really highlighting his flaws as much because of the team that he's on. Like, his turnovers are pretty dog shit. He has to be a lot better with that. But again, I feel like a lot of that is a product of he doesn't have a decent enough floor guy to put him in the right spots. He's trying to create a lot of things off the dribble by himself. He's making risky passes, and it leads to issues. But to act like he's like not in these conversations, that's how good Wemby is for his rookie year. And again, like Dub said, we're speaking about a guy who the majority of the season was playing limited minutes. After All-Star break, they say, okay, we're going to take you off of minutes restriction, which, by the way, he's only playing like 30 minutes a game now. He's still not playing 34, 35, 40. If you prorate that from the beginning to now, we're talking about a guy that might, for some people, be firmly in all NBA conversations as a rookie.
Hey, listen.
Which Tim Duncan was
not the 39 minutes, right? That Tim Duncan got, because I don't think anyone's be playing that much minutes in this day and age. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Give him 35. He's averaging 4 blocks. And he's averaging like 11 to 12 rebounds.
To bring Dub's point home, in the month of March, he averaged 31 minutes per game, 23 points, 3.8 blocks per game, 1.2 steals per game, 11.9 rebounds per game. Yes.
That's crazy.
Come on. We're talking MVP. Those are, if the team was winning, those are MVP numbers.
That's true. That is true.
I'm not denying that. Yeah, Wemby's had a phenomenal.
Hey, what's his shooting splits too? What's his shooting splits?
He has a
shooting splits
on
that
season ever. You know what I mean? It's not a downgrade to him. It's just
47% shooting from the field on 17 shots and 30% from 3-point range, taking 6.5 shots per game.
Damn, that three's still trash. Fuck.
But look.
Which holds back the team.
No. That three
I was saying, if you shoot that bad from 3, Tim Duncan wasn't wasting shots.
That is the absolute terrible thing.
He's not wasting shots.
This man literally said Wemby's 3 is holding back the Spurs, not Jeremy Sohan, not the bad passes, not the bad defense. It's his 3-point shot.
Make better decisions with your shot selection.
I think it's kind of crazy how Wemby is a better off the dribble pull-up shooter than catch and shoot. He at one point was shooting 49% on off the dribble pull-up threes. He was shooting 30% on catch and shoots. The fact that he's better at creating that than catch and shoot shows you just how dangerous of a player he's going to become. I just want to make that clear.
He's a rhythm scorer. And that's why, especially in the beginning of the year, he was struggling so much because Wemby was just so out of rhythm. He was doing things that he just wasn't used to, mainly because of the areas and sets and the teammates he's had, how they're trying to set him up. It just wasn't comfortable for him. But as you can see, as he gets more comfortable and more rhythm and more stride, bro, them joints start falling, man. And I'm trying to tell you, bro, this guy. No, this
It's-
guy's gonna be the GOAT.
Bro, even in the Denver game,
was
which they lost, I know he was number 28. But the confidence to take those types of shots, that's how I know he's gonna be crazy. The
That's what I'm
confidence
saying.
he has
will
to
he ever
just
be a
try
better
shit.
scorer than Luka?
Huh?
Nah.
He'll
Nah.
never.
I
be.
don't
No.
think it ever
Okay.
goes.
No.
Well.
I don't
Let me
think
ask you this: who's a better scorer, Shaq or Luka?
Oh Lord,
that
have mercy.
question. That
Wait a minute, in the
I'm gonna
rookie
take-
year?
No. I'm talking about
general.
Luka.
best version of Shaq or Luka.
Best version is that.
Shaq, man. It's just.
Mhm.
That's
That's
tough.
tough.
Chat, go stupid. Chat,
I
go
don't think Wemby will be as
I
dominant.
think
as Shaq,
Shaq's dominance in the paint was
Yeah, stupid. It was
just
just.
Yeah.
So I
we-
agree. So I agree.
factor that-
Wemby won't be as dominant as Shaq, but he can have a crazy dominance figure because he's 7'4" with that long wingspan, bro.
yeah.
Majority of people, all they have to do is just throw that up to him. And bro, if he does a turnaround like right there under the
Bro,
rim,
all
like come
of
on,
his
that's
dunks
easy.
are like no looks, just throw it down because I'm so tall. I'm just
Yes,
gonna dunk.
bro.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
So
shit can be-
you have a
that shit can be
dominant
dangerous.
you have a dominant presence down there because of his length
Yeah.
Mhm.
and his ability to actually shoot. Maybe.
It's
And
tough.
he can
Maybe.
move
I'll
feet
still take
defensively
Luka.
too.
I'll still take Luka.
We're talking about scoring though. We're talking about scoring.
No, yeah. True.
And the
Okay.
passing playmaking, Luka's going to clear him in that direction because he's an all-time
Yeah.
great pass playmaker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Luka will be a better offensive player. I don't think Wemby
that's
will ever
exactly.
be
I
better
think
than
Luka
him.
will be a better offensive player throughout the next
Yeah.
decade of his career than Wemby. Wemby obviously defensively is going to clear Luka. Wemby's probably going to go down as the greatest defensive player ever.
Yeah, but these are what the conversation is going to be like.
Mhm.
Which we have transcendent all-time defense,
Yeah.
along with great complementary offense, or
Mhm.
all-time great offense. Come on,
With
let's be real about
mediocre
that
to bad defense.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
gonna
It
be
looks
when
like
you
Wemby might be more complete, but I just think that offense by Luka is just so.
I agree.
No.
I
Luka's
think
off.
what Derek just
wrong.
said right now is Wemby could have a Kareem-esque type of career. And if that's the case, bro, like he's looked at to be like a top 3 player of all time for a lot of
Yes,
people.
bro. And look, at the end of the day, look, man, I know the GOAT debate has been the most subjective thing that fans talk about.
Of
But
course.
If Wembanyama, a player of his caliber, that build, all of that, bro, is literally like the equivalent of video game player, like
Yeah.
in real life. You know what I'm saying? So you factor that in. Of course, he's gonna have to have the hardware and all that to go along with it. But like Gifted alluded to earlier, it ain't like the Spurs aren't thinking to themselves, we have to make moves to maximize his potential. They're thinking about that, right? So it's all about finding the right pieces and things like that. Who that may be, I don't know. But if you match, God all-time great defense with a complementary offensive bag to match for someone of that size, and you match that with success,
Yeah.
but in 10 years, I promise, not 10 years, in 20, 25 years, the new generation of kids who watch Wemby grow into whatever he might become.
Clears Braun. He clears Braun.
It's they're gonna be saying he better than Braun, he better than Jordan.
And I'm here.
I think Luka has a better. I think Luka has a better chance of entering the GOAT discussion than Wemby.
Hell no.
I think Luka, I think Luka.
Hell
Jay's
no,
been
bro.
on one today, bro. Like this is
Perfect
crazy.
time to end the
Luka-
show.
Yeah,
Nah, man.
Luka-
It's time to
Luka-
end the
Before
show,
we
bro.
end the show, I do want to highlight the
telling you.
one thing we didn't talk about, which again makes Wemby crazy. The fact that he can be that dominant in the paint, but more importantly, because I saw someone else say he's gonna get compared to Giannis. No, he won't. You want to know why? Because Wemby can shoot free throws. For you to be that tall and shoot 81% from the free throw line, 81.
Gifted,
What's
I'll give it
Giannis's
to you like
excuse?
this. I'll give it to you like this.
No
Here's
Diddy.
Wemby, yeah. Wemby's gonna be who people thought Giannis was going to be.
See,
That's who
listen.
Wemby's
See,
gonna be.
listen. I can't even be mad at Doug. I can't even be mad at you for that take. Because again, down the stretch, you're not gonna be afraid to give the ball to Wemby because of the overwhelming size, but also the fact that he can create a shot at that size and also make his free throws. The fact that he can do all 3 of those things, he's gonna get involved, and you don't have to take him off the floor. There's not gonna be a fear with that, which elevates how good he can be. So I can't wait for that. But good show. Really,
Gifted
really,
always trying to
good
end the show. We're not done. I had a
Yeah,
question.
we're not
Gifted,
done.
like,
Yeah,
give
yeah,
us-
yeah.
give us the time.
We're
Give us the
done.
time.
He gotta go. He gotta go. He gotta go.
Send Gifted to a Diddy party. He's out of here.
That's crazy.
Send him out.
Gifted would be general manager so bad, bro. So bad.
My bad.
The question I have before we get out of the quick question. I know it's one season and he has minutes restriction, things like that. Does Wemby break the all-time block record before the end of the
Hell yes. Hell yes. I don't give a
believe
damn.
so.
I don't give a damn. And I look, when I first found out that Hakeem was leading it by that much, I was like, oh shit. But
Yeah.
Wemby, like, I think it's very possible for this man to be averaging 3.5 blocks a game for multiple seasons. You add
Bro,
on
if your first year is 3.5,
it's gonna be scary
Bro.
hours. No James
Yeah.
Harden. Scary hours.
the only thing that we pray for is health.
That's it.
That is it.
Yep.
That's it.
That is the only thing.
And another thing too, before we go off, okay, Gifted just brought up his free throw percentage, right? You know that's also better than Luka. What's wrong with Luka and Giannis? How come a 7'5" guy can go 81% from the free throw line? What's
Crazy.
Giannis' excuse? What's Luka's excuse? I know Luka can score at all three levels, but damn, nigga, make your free throw.
Luka got a mid range. He got the three.
I don't get that.
Tell Wemby to get that.
I don't
step
get.
back
I don't.
three.
I don't
I
understand
really
how.
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is weird though.
I don't get it
Luka,
either.
why,
Like
yeah.
Luka being a good mid-range shooter and a good right now a good
Yes.
3-point shooter, and you
Yeah.
can't hit free throws is like
What's the shooting for the
that's
free throw line?
odd.
78% or something like that.
Wait,
Oh,
what's
let
Wemby
me-
shooting
they
for the free
shoot-
throw line?
No, Wemby's
81.
79.
Yeah,
Oh,
come on now.
even still, it don't
Luka's
matter.
80, I'll take that.
Luka is having his best shooting
Yeah.
from the free throw line in general, right? But
Right.
like especially like in the years past, like he was 74, 73. Like he
Yeah.
never shot 78 before. So this is kind of absurd. But I agree with what's his name? ZZ. Like, I don't understand how you're a good mid-range shooter and you can't hit free throws like that.
Yeah, because the first person that comes to my head has always been Kevin Durant. That's a great 3-level scorer, and he can shoot free throws. Always been able to shoot free throws. So it's like, how the hell? That's the freest shot. That's the most open shot you get.
I
Like,
just think starting at 79 as a 7'5" guy, knowing your efficiency is just going to get better with your career is very scary.
it is.
All right, but chat, we have reached that time. Hour and a half.
Unfortunately,
Another good
Look at the
episode.
goat.
Yeah, from Luka. Luka about to be the second greatest player of all time. Jordan got to get out. It's gonna be 3. It's gonna be nice to see.
yeah.
From the logo, another episode in the books. What do you have to say to the people, guys? What do y'all have to say to the people?
Appreciate y'all, man. We keep grinding. We keep pushing more clips and all that stuff. We'll be getting circulated. We're working on timestamps as well for future EPs and whatnot. But we appreciate y'all support. Let us know some topics and things you guys might want to hear about for future episodes. Leave them in the comments. Like, blow up that comment section. We do read our comments as we, get some more EPs and whatnot. But we appreciate y'all, man. We do.
Grab that merch. See what Dub's wearing. X casual hoodie. Hey, David, I need my merch, bruh. I need my merch. Send it through.
Y'all grab that merch from the
go grab that
logo.
merch.
Coming
And
back.
go get some ass.
I mean, hey, whatever floats your boat.
That's
Whatever
so
floats
crazy.
your boat.
That's so
Have a
Wow,
good
that's
one.
crazy.
Stay safe. Take it easy,
Peace.
chat.
Peace.